on Wednesday night with those guys. Hello.
Hey, what's up, dude? What's going on?
What's up?
Nothing. I'm sitting here trying to pull your screen up, and there you go. Yes, 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 we are live. What's up? How are you? And this is your show, man. You got to introduce people and all of that.
Yes. All right. So we are live. We're going to have some talk tonight, drone news and some tech talk.
At least that's the plan.
Yes. Well, that is the plan. That's the plan all the time, but it seems like it never seems to happen sometimes.
Hey, what's up, Exploration Obsession? See, now my job as co-host is to make sure the chat room keeps going, and you basically do your show. So what I'm going to do is sit back in the co-pilot seat and relax. Yeah, man.
Is that what you want to do? So basically, you're not going to stray away from the drone talk like on your channel. On my
Stray
channel.
away from it.
I thought that's what you was here for. I mean, I don't do it on your channel. I try to keep it to the
I get
to the topic.
distracted easily. You know, it's like squirrel. You know, and then I
Oh,
look
that's
to
what
the
it is?
side. Yeah, yeah.
You know, this phone is going to annoy me right now.
Why? People are going to start calling you?
Probably will, but I just had to move it out of my way before I elbow it right off the table.
Oh. Well, it's still early. It says 3 watching. Now it says 4 watching.
People are coming. You said 4 watching. One of them is probably you. Let me
Well, what am I? I would like to hope one of them is me.
Well, yeah. Well, you know.
And
let me type something in the chat here.
Yeah. Anyway, welcome to Wednesday nights with those guys. And this part of those guys is going to be on every Wednesday night as long as we can do it. And along with Sunday night. So except this show will be here. What's up, Orlando? How are you? And welcome to Wednesday nights with those guys. Jay Santiago, how are you as well? What's up with you guys? We're gonna have a little survey later, but we're gonna wait for some more people to get up in here because the survey has to do with what we're gonna talk about. Now, this, unlike my show on Sunday nights with those guys, is supposed to be a lot more tech and drone oriented. So we have to try and stay on focus. So if you guys see us straying from subject every now and then, you got to pull the reins back on us. All right.
Well, we still plan to have fun on the channel too. You know, we still want to have some fun and run jokes and stuff like that.
You got me under the impression that I'm gonna have to put my glasses on and look real smart.
Put glasses on, look real smart.
Yeah, there we go. Okay, Dr. Novice is in the house.
Exploration Obsession. How you doing?
Just call me Dr. Novice.
For right now. I didn't have any adult drinks. I can still kind of see it.
I'll ask you for a drone today if I can pay you on Tuesday.
Okay, no problem. I got a tello here for you. Can't get into any trouble with this. You can fly this almost anywhere.
That's not true. I could break that thing.
How you gonna get in trouble with it?
Dude, I'll pull it out on the train in the middle of the subway station.
And you could fly it there.
at least until I hit somebody, right?
It's not like the Phantom that will tell you can't take off.
Yeah, that's true. See, that's why I'm into these babies here.
Hey, did you see what they got in Israel now?
What's
now
that?
They got the guns now in Israel.
The drone guns?
Oh yeah, they got the guns. What it says is that it'll take the DJI drone down to landing by pointing and bringing it down. It'll land the DJI drones. Anybody else's, it'll just knock it out the sky.
Interesting.
So attacking the frequency.
Yeah, I would figure they would have to come up with something to jam the frequency and interfere with the satellite connection. The satellite connection is the simplest part of it that you can interfere with. Okay, but messing with OcuSync and or Lightbridge 1, Lightbridge 2, that's where it gets complicated. So I wouldn't want to point that gun at a person and pull a trigger.
Well, it might ruin your cell phone or something, but other than that, I know it. They have a real big issue with that over there in Israel, and they with drones. And I know from one of the guys I was listening to with on Canadian Drone Hub. And
Okay. Hey Val, hey Happy Lux.
hello, Val. How you doing? I sent you a text, Val, if you wanted to come in.
You need to mod Val, but I don't think you can do it during a live show. At least
Why?
I didn't figure it out. I could be wrong.
Well, all I did with I think with Justin was I and with you as I just went on and clicked next to your name and you want me to see if it'll work?
Yeah, give it a shot. But
Well,
anyway,
you could
guys,
do it
with Phantom Flight
because you are
101.
moderator. You could do it.
No, I can't.
Sure, you can.
I
Justin
just
did it.
tried. I just tried with Val. Let's see. I go click on her name, report, remove, put user on timeout, hide user on this channel. You're the only one that can mod.
Okay, let me
So
see.
we can mod, we control everyone else. But anyway, getting back to what Phantom Flight 101 was talking about is finally in Israel, they have the guns that you can point at a drone and take your drone down. Now, if it's a DJI drone, it will be forced into land mode, auto land. So if you're a mile away, 5 blocks away, 50 feet away, no matter where you are, and they hit your drone with that gun, it's going to start landing. Now,
Mike Roach Studios, how you
hey,
doing?
what's up, Mike Roche and Brant Aerials? But I have a problem with that, Herman. And my problem is, okay, you're going to be forcibly taking drones down out of the sky, right? Now, what happens if because you take a drone down and it goes into auto land mode and I'm driving 50 miles per hour down the road and all of a sudden I go, oh, look, drone, and I run somebody over? Who's going to take the rap for that?
What do you mean?
Okay, they okay, you're the bad guy. I shoot at your drone. Boom, it goes into auto land mode, no matter where it is. If it's a DJI drone, if it's not a DJI, it may do anything crazy. But see, Orlando says it's a liability issue. But who is it a liability to? Is the question, because if they're taking you down.
But okay, all right, hold on.
What's up, Adrian?
Let's look at this intelligently and let's look at this from the law's point of view.
One thing, Adrian says they were testing that system in Dubai, and I'm sure it is in effect in Israel. They just initiated it. Adrian, go ahead. Now, what were you saying?
They have a problem with that right now in Israel, so that's where they're using it. But what I'm saying to you is this: it's supposed to point it at the drone and bring it down with you bringing it down. Now, what the guy said, that I don't know because he's not the guy that's using it. He was saying that that's with DJI drones. Anybody else's, it would just knock it out the sky. Yes, you're right. It's a liability issue. Yes, from the common sense standpoint, you would say the liability would be on the law enforcement.
Right.
But you know, like I know, I don't know about anybody else's country, but here in the United States, the police will come to arrest you, beat you up,
taser
and
you,
then charge you with assault,
and then charge you with assault, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is, if they knock down your drone, then you're the one that was flying in the place where they didn't want you, so it's going to be on you. That's how the law works.
That's true. Don't forget to click that like. Don't forget to click that like button, guys. Anyway, as far as tech news and drone news, we're not going to be like some of these guys, like Droner. He gets into it a little more and stuff like that. When I come on in the future, I would like to have some pages and stuff that I can go to on the fly. Okay. You know what I'm saying? I do have some stuff that's bookmarked for tonight to talk about.
Well, what do you have?
Nothing. Okay. Well, here's something that I did find out. You know, the bee population around the world is dying off, right?
Right.
And they say if the bees die, then nature starts dying and it starts trickling down the line, down the food chain.
Right.
Insects, bugs, etc., humans, etc. Well, they've come to find out, and I'm trying to remember where the hell they did it, but they did a test with drones.
Mhm.
And what they're doing with the drones are they're using the drones to pollinate the flowers. And what's happening is they claim it's working. And because the drones are pollinating more of an area than the bees are, because obviously there's less bees, the bees are pollinating more and surviving and starting to reproduce. So it may be something that put them going out of extinction.
That's a good thing and a good thing and a bad thing, and I'll tell you why. That's driving the bees into. I would find that will eventually drive the bees further into extinction, and I'll tell you why. Everything, just like the human being, you can't just drink fluids all your life. Your body actually needs to be able to break down foods so
Right,
your body can function. The problem with the bees wasn't the fact that the bees are dying, because that's an obvious. The problem on why the bees were dying is that people don't want to find out, and what people are not admitting the truth. You
right,
know,
right.
even with all these dead bees, what they're finding is the same metal fibers in the bees that they're finding in people with Alzheimer's and stuff like this. So
Right.
now what I'm curious to know is it whatever is in your pesticides that's causing this to happen to the bees? Because that's the only foreign thing I could find that they would come in contact with.
Well, Orlando says that the bees are damn bees are saying my job is going obsolete to robots. What it is, Orlando, it's not going obsolete, but they found this one guy said he's been doing testing. How many times have you seen guys show drone videos with bees attacking the drones? Well, what happens is the reason the bees are attacking or the wasps are attacking is because if a bee hears a certain pitch of a drone props, it sounds like their enemy, the wasp. So then they're automatically going to swarm mode. Now,
Mhm.
if a wasp hears a certain pitch, it thinks that they're bees and they go into attack mode. So by this guy using the drones, by them pollinating the areas that the bees aren't going, they're literally following the drone and giving up and resting on the plants that he just pollinated.
Right, but once again, I understand that. But you see, what bees actually need is to stay away from man's pesticides.
How are you, drone obsessed Jerry? And Joseph Relantius, how are you? Who are you? And where are you from? Because this is your first time here. I'm more than sure of it. How and where did I meet you at?
Who is this?
Um, we met some people when we were flying at Orchard Beach. That might be the
Right,
gentleman that was at Orchard Beach yesterday who was talking with us while we were doing
okay,
our closing scenes vlog
right.
stuff. Uh, please confirm that, Joseph, if that is you. Um, but as far as technology wise, I figure if there aren't enough bees and this a drone is tricking them into following it and
Mhm.
getting and pollinating an area, it'll work for a little while. But
No,
over
I understand what
commercializing
you're
bees
saying.
for farming, it's not really the over commercializing Orlando. It's that. It is that. But it's also the fact that there's not a whole lot left for the bees to pollinate. Man is destroying a lot of shit. Where bees
Well,
used to fly
that's the
2 3
problem.
miles, they're not flying 2 and 3 miles anymore.
Think about this. If we don't figure out something, man will have a very big problem, because the same plants that these cows eat is pollinated by bees.
Yep, that's where they said it would trickle down to man.
This right. The same meats that we eat, the food that they eat, is pollinized by bees.
Correct,
So if
correct.
the bees no longer exist, we're going to have a problem. And that is only the ushering in of Monsanto's and all of their GMOs and all the stuff that they want to push.
Yeah, sad, but true.
So I don't
Also,
know what side this guy works for that you that you brought this research on, but I mean, it sounds like it's interesting. I just hope he's not luring the bees to their own slaughter at plants that are full of pesticides and stuff like that.
let's see now. That was something that I had thought about personally myself. I said, okay, where there are bees, there are usually pesticides, and where there's plants and farms, there's usually pesticides. At some point, and even on organic farms, there's pesticides. People may
Hey,
not.
my drones, how you doing?
Hey, love my drones. How are you? And welcome to Wednesday night with those guys.
See, I can
Uh,
still see the chat.
good, good. Now, unlike for those of you who don't know, unlike my show where I get distracted and we start out talking about drones and then wind up talking about Trident gum, we're going to try and keep this particular show a little more focused.
But we're still gonna have some fun and run some jokes. Hey guys, out there in the chat, make sure you check out each other's channel, support each other, because that's the only way we can grow in this community. Support each other and make sure you hit that like button.
Yes, yes. Love my drones. I'm the other half of those guys, to be honest. And basically that's it. No, nothing special. I'm the other half of those guys. When we do Sunday nights with those guys,
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
usually if
third.
that'll be on my channel, and Wednesday nights with those guys will be on Phantom Flight 101's channel every Wednesday night. But what else do you have as far as getting?
Well, if anybody ever, I know everyone saw the Anafi that came out, and they made a big deal about the camera. It flips up; you can see up underneath things when it comes up.
Yeah,
Well, they came out with a new one, and I actually reinforced the fold-out legs on it. It made
right.
it a little bit more sturdy. But what they also did to it, they put a thermal camera on it, so it's the same. Well, I wouldn't say the same. It's very similar to the new the Mavic Duo that they have with the thermal camera,
Hey, Brent.
and it's going to sell for a little bit less. The only thing that it doesn't have is it doesn't have all the sensors, has
Right.
a slightly less flying time, and it's Wi-Fi.
All right. Well, every time you mention
Yeah.
Wi-Fi, I cringe because I remember my Wi-Fi days. And
Oh
trust,
yeah.
I learned how to fly
Wi-Fi.
on Wi-Fi. So I have nothing against Wi-Fi drones. Orlando, behave yourself. He's going boo for Wi-Fi, I'm assuming. But
All right. What is he flying?
Orlando, let me tell you something. I didn't learn how to fly Wi-Fi. I learned how to fly something like this, but just barely had um altitude hold. There was no GPS. So if you let the throttle go. I mean, the pitch go, it would drift with the wind. There was no GPS. But I'm a better flyer and I teach people how to fly drones, and I teach them how to fly on a non-GPS drone. And then when I show them GPS and they see the drone standing there, they're like, "Well, why the hell didn't you show me that first?" Because because I had to teach you how to fly if your GPS goes out. Now, how many times, Herman, have you been at a meetup or we've been somewhere and someone goes, "Hey, what? My drone? It's
Bring it back. Bring it back.
where are we going?" You know, they're panicking.
Bring it back for me.
And then usually they go here and they give me the controller. They give Herman the controller. They say, calm down, give me the controller. One time we were flying Twan. If he's watching this, he might find this funny, but it was me the night him and Jose came and kidnapped me. And we went to Long Island City to fly. Jose's always up in the air. He's out.
Always the first one.
First one, always out. And then Twan goes, I'm setting up, I'm putting my props on. I'm leaning over like this. I see Twan bend down and he's like, all right, I'm taking off. All of a sudden, his drone just go in sports mode, takes off straight up in the air about 50 feet, and then starts heading back over the building. So out of the corner of my eye, I see Twan go, yo, what? And he goes running after the drone. Make a long story short, we were in the medium, in the middle of the road, in the middle of the highway, one of those spots over there. And he ran around the corner of the building. And I was like, Twan, just face it back towards you and bring it back. And I talked him through it. But that was basically because we took off, bad calibration. And
that happens sometimes.
We almost got
sometimes it'll even find its whole point.
What's up?
What happened?
I said we got distracted. I started babbling. You got to cut me off.
It's still drone talk. It's still tone talk. But that Anafi for I think it was going to sell for 1,900.
That's a little much for a drone.
No, because they're giving you a bag, right? you're getting the drone, and you're getting 3 batteries, I believe, for that price.
For 1,900,
Yeah.
it's it is relevant, Orlando. But the, the the thing that bothering me, we need to get into the talk about what we found out, and we need you guys that are in the chat room to. We want to do a little survey. We were trying to wait for more people to get in, but we have enough people in here, and this is only for people who fly DJI products. We want to
Well,
know if you want to do it now, Herman, so we can go into that segment, or what?
I mean, if you wanted to, but I just, we still had a couple other things here, just announcements.
Okay, so go ahead.
Well, DJI right now has a joint venture project going on right now with the Los Angeles Fire Department,
Right.
where to promote the usage of drones in that area of work. That they're running a training process to teach the firemen on how to use their products that they need for search and rescue, and to just basically to use in their fireman work that they do. I don't know what they need, but I guess they're working with DJI, telling DJI what they need, and basically both groups are learning from each other. Where that the fire department is bringing the real world knowledge to DJI to let them know what they needed, and DJI is bringing what they have and teaching them how to use it. So I guess it's a win-win situation for the Los Angeles Police Department, not to say police department, but the fire department, and it'll probably start branching off around the rest of the country.
Well, speaking about fire department, everyone heard about the Notre Dame fire, right? And
Yes.
they said how drones had helped. Well, come to find out, the first person who had a drone up in the air, and this was strange, and I give big props, and I did get this from information from another channel, but I give, hey, what's up, EBRFPV? But I give big props to the young lady who was working for a fire department, and she said, I have a drone in my car. And they drove her back to the firehouse and brought her back to the Notre Dame fire, and she was the first one to go up and give them an overhead view.
Yeah, well, they
And
could
then
find
turn
the hot
around
spots.
and right, and then they brought in, I think, a Matrice and something else from somewhere else. But it was a female drone pilot that said, "Hey, we need to get a hand on and get up in the air and see what we can do," because supposedly if she had not got up and told them what direction the fire was moving in, they wouldn't have been able to put a water wall
Right.
on
She
side.
was able to find the hot spots in there,
Right.
find where the
But
flames were.
well, where the flames were headed, they were headed towards the two towers, and those supposedly have 2 large bells in them that are
Right.
about
And have wooden
1,300
support.
13 tons. I don't know if it's 130 tons, but there's something with 13 in it in tons. And they said had those two towers had burnt on the bottom, the heat probably would have loosened the bells,
Well,
causing the bells to fall and the towers to go too.
well, what would have happened was the fact that if you check out that building and what really caused that place to blaze like that was that in spite of the fact that the uprights, the whole building outside, the exterior is all stone, that wouldn't burn. The problem is that the wooden supports in the building,
Yes.
wooden
Yeah.
roof, and the wooden supports for the bell, that would
Right.
have caught on fire. And with the weight of it, when it hit the bottom, would have probably shook that thing loose.
Yeah. Definitely.
Remember, that place is older than 50 people times 2.
But and a few people may be mad at me because I posted this on Facebook, and you guys could put how you feel about what I'm about to say. And Wednesday night with those guys has no responsibility for this. I'm saying this on my own, but statistically, I posted this on Facebook. It was something I copied and posted to my personal page, and it said that that particular church is worth $10 billion, right? Completed, all right, and yet you still can't give money to Puerto Rico. You can't give water to the people in Flint, Michigan, but people are donating millions and millions. There was a guy here in New York who donated $10 million the very next day to help have that church rebuilt. Now, I'm not saying don't rebuild the church, but people aren't even helping their people here, and they're donating money they don't have to help this building be built. And that's all I got to say.
Well,
I didn't want to get. I started to get. I was starting to get into politics, and we're not supposed to
Well,
discuss that here. But
well, the building should be insured.
now that's my point. That's my point. If they were renovating on this building, the renovators have insurance to do the job. Why wasn't the church insured? And then we'll get back to drone news. I need to grab something to drink out of the refrigerator. Give me a second.
Okay. Well, yeah, I'll get back to that fire department thing. Basically, what's happening now is that DJI is working with the Los Angeles Fire Department and training them with different drones and how to use their thermal cameras and how to basically use it for all of their needs that they need them for their work
And it's right here on.
and going into search and rescue and things like that. And then you've probably heard in the last few weeks now, notice that every time we turn around, they're using a drone to find somebody else that got lost. People seem to wander off a lot lately.
You know what it is? It's not lately. They have been wandering off.
I thought only dogs wandered off.
Well, apparently the human species does it a lot more than dogs. Dogs find their way back sometimes.
Well, if they don't, it's because they don't want to come back.
Now, see, there
Or they
you go.
can't.
They're pretty sure electrical are terrorists, but we need to take care of them in our own before. You know what? Yes, I agree. If you want to donate money to the cause, donate money to the cause, but don't take your life savings because it's a church that's worth $10 billion, because in your lifetime, you will never see that church finished. We have a church here in New York City called St. John's Cathedral of the Divine. It's the second largest cathedral in the world. The first is in Rome, the Vatican, or wherever that area is, okay? This church, they've been building it for over 150 years. And the reason why you'll never see it built is because when they started building it, they were chiseling bricks or chiseling marble or whatever, they're granite or whatever they're doing. Until this present day in 2019, they're still chiseling and putting it together that way. So,
Well, I don't know who the general contractor is on this project, and it has probably changed ever since. Because that I know of, how many where in Manhattan you said there's very few contractors that I know of that have been around for 100 years.
okay, I'm putting up options for these guys so we can start that conversation if you want.
Which one?
I'm serious. To lead into that segue.
Well, as far as the talk about, them phasing out the series.
Yeah, because I want to get into that.
Well,
and I know what these guys think about it.
I personally think that everything, they've changed everything. We've shown statistics a few weeks ago.
Well, before we give any bias, I want to put a question. I want to hit enter, and by hitting enter, you guys that are listening, put a 1 if you have a Mavic series drone, any Mavic series, or a 2 if you have any Phantom series drone. And the reason for finding out how many you guys have would go into this little segue.
Well, the Mavic series right now is the most popular because it's, the newest. You have guys that are, there was at one point where when you went to a meetup, if you had a Phantom, there was like a trailer load of Phantoms. And there was really the Phantom 4 series, and there really wasn't much of anything else. And you had a few Mavics started to trickle in here and there. But now with the new series, I think, and that by the time that the first series of the Mavic was out, that by the time it got to the end of its run, it got so popular that more and more people had it. And you got to remember the Phantom had already been out like 2 years now by that time.
Right. Well, it's obvious by the guys in the chat room but everyone seems to be a Mavic series operator, and the reason we were asking that is because it's rumored, right, Herman, that they
Yeah,
may be ending the Phantom series. But that's not to say they may be trying to go to the next evolution of Phantom. That we I can't.
well, let me say this, and I think I said this on Sunday night. With discontinuing the Phantom series as to where the Phantom series has gone to, you know this and I know this. In that market of the prosumer drone,
Right.
the Phantom was the only one with a true camera. When I
Yeah.
said true, I'm not knocking the Mavic's camera. What I'm saying to you was it had a global shutter. That is best for the best resolutions. It is best for mapping. It is best for taking video. It is best for doing pictures. I'm not knocking any other camera. But when you discontinue this market, you now open up that market for another drone company to put a bird in place where you just removed yours. Now, keep one other thing in mind. They came out with this new DJI Terra desktop software
Yeah.
for your complete mapping needs. Now,
Right.
we both know that the best drone that DJI makes for mapping is the Phantom 4 Pro of all series.
True. That's true. That is true.
If that is the case, and you came out with a new software to try to compete with Pix4D and all these other mapping softwares, because yours is totally complete, why would you discontinue your your Phantom series? Now, I understand everybody believes, and this might be true, that they're gonna come out with this series for just for the commercial use,
Yeah.
but it's still gonna have a global shutter on it. Guys believe the new one is gonna be what is it? What was that that they came out with? The name they used for the Mavic series? They came out with the
Enterprise.
Enterprise series.
Well,
I believe
my
that's what
own,
they go and come out with a Phantom 4 Enterprise, where I think that it's time for a new Phantom 4. You came out with a Phantom series.
right.
A new
Frank
Phantom,
says a Phantom RTK.
yeah, but I understand it. You have the RTK. I believe that they will slowly start to change that too. I just recently sent my Phantom back to DJI, and they sent me back something that was completely different. Well, I'm not saying completely different. It's a Phantom 4 Pro, but it was a couple more steps I had to go through to activate this one than I did with the last one that they sent me. But that's neither here nor there.
Right.
I'm just saying to you is that if they get rid of that series,
Right.
you open the market up for another drone company to drop in a drone with this kind of camera. Now, keep in mind, if they come out with an Enterprise series and they continue the camera from where they've gone with the camera, meaning that they're going to put a global shutter on this thing, I'll still buy it. Because why? Like I said, the global shutter works best on video and taking pictures.
Yeah. Yeah.
Map. The parameters of it is so much. And then this last Mavic series was the only one that they had of the two that gave you the 3 aspect ratios of a camera. Because before it didn't have an aperture, right? It didn't have aperture control on it.
Right. It's just digital. There is no aperture control. Period.
And on the new one, it does.
Right.
And it shot in what, 4K 30?
Yes. Correct. 4K at 30 was its best.
Right. The Phantom 4 Pro shot in 4K 60.
Well,
Cinematic 4K and then 4K.
all I can say is, to be honest, DJI would be foolish, and I mean foolish, to get rid of their best drone. And what I say by best drone, I mean it's the only drone that has a physical camera other than starting at the X5 series on the
Right.
Inspire. Okay,
And
even when you get an Inspire 1, that camera that comes on the Inspire 1 is the same camera as the Phantom 4. Standard. Okay, which means you have no aperture control. So unless you spend that extra $400 to $600 for that X5 camera, that X3 is garbage. And you cannot map with a half-inch sensor.
Well, you can't map. Their software doesn't work with the Phantom 4. It only works with the Phantom 4 Pro and the Phantom 4 Pro and the RTK. Every model of the Phantom 4 Pro and the RTK.
Well, Exploration Obsession says everyone said for years they wanted a folding Phantom. Mavic 2 basically gave you that. You're 100% right. So now
not really.
Well, no. Well, why would you say that?
Camera. You have a camera that shot in 4K 60. You have a camera that shoots 4K 30. You have a camera that has a global shutter. You have a camera that has a digital shutter.
Digital shutter, yeah, and that's true. The
cheaper.
The Mavic 2 Pro does not have a physical shutter, and I think
cheaper to make.
That's why I think the pictures are a little warmer. Some people say they're cooler, but I think that's why the pictures are a little warmer. Phantom Flight, what happens to your channel name is
nothing.
Just throwing that out there.
Nothing happens to my channel name.
Well, eventually we'll get to the point where we'll have to start another channel on our same page. You know, people have multiple channels. Eventually, I'm hoping it'll get to that point. Seriously. But the reason that I was asking is because do you in the chat room, you guys personally think that they're just going to niche the Phantom series when the Phantom put DJI, the Phantom cookie cutter shape, put DJI out there? Because this, and then I also want to talk about the double standard that the FAA has against us drone pilots as opposed to other pilots around the world. So if you want, I can segue into that, or we can finish the conversation we were having.
Well, that's a good topic, but because I have a question to ask you, and it's something that we were dealing with the other day. You know, when we were at the beach flying
yesterday,
and this guy with this kite, and I'm like, yo, dude is all over the place with this thing. I said, I wonder. I remember I said, yo, I wonder if he knows the FAA rules revolving around flying a kite. And believe me, guys, there are rules to flying a kite.
Well, UDrone says, I think they will open up that Mavic 2 camera all the way because they're not using the whole sensor. This is true, but the problem that you will still have, I caught a cramp. I caught a cramp on my leg. The problem that they still have is the Mavic 2 Pro does not have a physical shutter.
Right. It segments. Oh, it opens in segments. Even if I gave you the full use of it, it's still going to open, bing, 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 till you get the whole thing open.
Right. Whereas with an actual physical shutter,
it's open, exposed, closed.
Right. I'm still here. I'm trying to stretch my leg out. I caught a cramp in my leg sitting here at this desk like this. I have to find a new angle.
You know what you got to get?
What?
You ever see because you're a tall guy.
A real desk?
You're a tall guy. You ever seen what's his name there, Klitschko, when he was fighting in the ring? It looked like they brought a bar stool to the ring for this guy. He had a stool to sit on because he was so tall. He had a bar stool.
In that case, I would have to tilt the TV up because I have it like tilted down so I can look up like this, almost like I'm in the movies. But this is not good, man. I can't do the rest of the show standing up.
Where is it cramped?
Give me a second. A hamstring. Give me a second. I'm going to walk it off. Talk about stuff.
Television.
I'm not dancing. Forget it.
No, I'm just trying to tell you, you got to stretch it out. You could put your leg out straight in front of you and bend the knee of the back leg, and it'll straighten out and stretch it. That's
all right. Do you hear an echo?
Do I hear an echo? No, I don't hear an echo.
Okay. Do you guys in the chat room hear an echo? Because I pulled out the headset so I could stand.
No, you sound fine. I don't hear an echo.
Okay, good. Now, Getting
No.
back to what I was talking about,
Are
the
you
double
stretching like I
standard.
told you?
What happened?
Did you stretch it like I told you to? Or else you're gonna keep having the problem.
I'm stretching now, man. I'm stretching my leg now. He's ordering those chaps for me, Law.
What
Before
happened?
we dance. I did promise when we got 50 people in here watching, I'd do it. And I know we won't have that for a while.
Hey guys, go and get any friends, call them up, tell them to just put it on for a while, like 20. If you can get like 10 friends apiece, just tell them to watch for like about 5 minutes. You can get this dance going.
Don't even try it. It's not happening.
But if you stretch out the leg, like I said, and bend the knee of the back leg as you lean forward, it'll stretch that leg out.
Well, see, he only knows this guys, because he's a defensive coach for a football team, which, by the way, was last year's #1 football team, Erasmus.
Hey, E-Hall all the way.
I still waiting to see the ring, man.
You know, I'm still waiting to get it too.
How long is it going to take them to get you a ring? The next season's already starting.
Listen, I don't know, but all I know is that when they do it in the NFL, these guys usually get it in the beginning of the season, right?
Yeah, Exploration says he thinks that the Mavic 2 will come out with a completely new camera by the end of the year. Hey, Val, and welcome back.
Okay.
There's an invite in the email if you want, Val. FPV Extreme, what's up? How are you? And welcome to Wednesday nights with those guys. If you're wondering why I'm standing, it's because I caught a cramp, and Herman has me doing some weird exercise to stretch the muscle out.
Or put it up on the back of the sofa and lean forward till we bring your forehead to your knee. I know you're not 12 anymore, but you know you got to try to get it down there.
EDR, I have supported your channel, and thank you for the support, sir. We will be getting some FPV stuff going on here. I am big time noob to FPV, but I can get down. So we're trying to work that into segment, okay, where we'll have an FPV segment and a regular camera drone.
Thank you.
Segment there.
But you good now?
I think so. I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna try and sit down now.
Yeah, Val, if you got the email, let me know.
Hey guys.
I wonder why she didn't get it.
That's strange.
Well, I could try to send it to her.
You could try to send it, or I'll send it to her.
Oh, you got
you tried to send it to her before and something came up.
Unless it's just constantly sending it back. Well, no, it didn't send it. You got it, right?
Yeah, I got it. Yes, I did. All right. What I'm going to do is I will send.
Roger and Paul probably didn't get it either. I'm not.
That's a possibility, but they may not even know you're on. Val, I'm going to copy.
They would know that I'm on because Val knows, and I told them all at the same time.
Okay, Val. I'm sending one to her. So.
Okay.
Email is titled link. Paste. Send. Okay. And I don't think any of the other guys know about it, but as you do the show more and more often, then you won't have to worry about it.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty sure. Now,
this is yes.
You guys support each other. Please, please, please click like. Now, getting back to what I wanted to talk about.
Yes, guys, make sure you check each other's channels out, man. Support each other. Thank you.
Exactly. Hey, Trippy. How are you? And welcome to Wednesday nights with those guys. Brooklyn Knickerbocker.
Hello, how you doing?
What's up? Much love from Brooklyn. Where are you in Brooklyn, bro? Because Phantom Flight's in Brooklyn as well. And also, we want you guys to know, click the bell on Phantom Flight's channel and my channel, because what's going to happen as the weather gets warmer, Trippy, I just supported you at some time and chance. Make your way through here and support everyone else. But getting back to what I was saying, at some time point, Phantom Flight 101 and I, one of us may be live in the house and one of us may be live out in the open, or we both may be live at the same time.
Out in the streets.
Yes, we do plan on starting a series. Hey, Rodney Bell, what's up? What's up? Phantom Hodges. Hey,
How's it going, Val?
Hey Val, how are you?
Oh, I'm fine. How are you guys?
You're wearing Power Red today.
I am. I am.
Right.
Glasses red, shirt
I
red.
happen to know red is a power color in the business world.
You know
If you
what's funny
see-
about that? I used to work for the sales company, and we used to have to wear red ties on Monday.
Wow.
You know what? In the business world, red, if you saw a woman wearing red to court, she wasn't no bullshitter. Oh, sorry, I shouldn't have said that. But
It's okay.
seriously, it's a main power color in the business world. I do own a couple of red ties.
Well, it's being dressed for success.
Yeah.
That's what it's about. Phantom Hodges, how are you? And thanks for popping in. You guys support each other and welcome Val to Wednesday nights with those guys. I've
Yes.
got to put a disclaimer out there because Herman, Phantom Flight 101, wants this show to be geared more towards drone talk and tech talk. And unlike my show where we start out talking about drones and then wind up talking about this pack of gum.
I don't mind straying away from the drone talk if it's about things that relate around drone talk. Like Philly Drone Life was mentioning this earlier. And he said that he thinks that the real life stories that revolve around the drone talk is still drone talk. And he's right. I think so. I mean, for instance, like what we talked about before about search and rescue. Sure, yes, the drones are being used for search and rescue, but you mentioned specifically this woman that is a drone pilot that she was the first one to get her drone up to check out the fire at the cathedral of Notre Dame.
Right.
You know, basically, those are real life stories. You know, we knew somebody like when we had names are now escaping me.
Sandy, Hurricane Sandy.
Well, no, we had why can't I remember this woman's name?
Salute to you, Trippy.
She's gonna kill me because I was just talking to her the other day.
Hey Val, can I ask you a question?
Mm-hmm.
You are and will be one day a DJI owner, right?
Yes, one day I will.
I want to know what is more practical to you, a portable drone or a portable drone you can put in something like a MERS. We call it a MERS because they're such little itty bitty cutie little bags for the Mavic, or a manly backpack with a Phantom in it.
As a MERS.
Or a Phantom.
So I will tell you that I would love to have a Phantom.
Yes, that's right. You heard it right here. We might have a future Phantom operator.
You know, there's no such thing as a MERS, right?
That's okay. We made it up.
It was scaring me, but I was just going with it.
A MERS is a man purse. I think
when
they came out with the Mavic Pro. Now keep in mind, I own a Mavic Pro, but when they came out with the Mavic Pro, they had this little European bag that was about this big and like that. And in Europe, they were going, it's not a purse, it's a MERS.
There's no such thing as a MERS. When I ask people what's a MERS, you know what they tell me?
What?
It's a purse for men. That means it's a purse.
Hey, Paul Murray.
Hey,
What's
Paul
up?
Murray.
How are you, dude?
Hey, Paul, what's up?
Did you get a link, Paul? If not, let me know, and I will send you one.
Emails to you, but not everyone else.
I don't know. Maybe I'm special. I like to feel I'm special sometimes.
Well, I sent it to Justin, but I sent it to him before, so I don't know.
I don't know either, but I just sent it out to you. Anyway,
I was sending him out, and I couldn't get it to anybody. So sometimes it just doesn't.
So maybe they're playing around with the switches and buttons again. They cleaned up the streets in Knickerbocker Avenue back in the day in ways money makers really talk. Well, I can tell you, Brooklyn isn't. Brooklyn.
So I know where he's from.
Yeah, we were talking just for. I was trying to talk.
I didn't know when you said. I didn't know who you were talking about when you said what part of Brooklyn are you from. I didn't know who you were talking to.
Hey Val, what part of Brooklyn you from?
And when he mentioned Knickerbocker Avenue, I know he's at.
No, see,
Yeah.
Val, your personality. Where would you say? Okay, we known Val for a while. Where would you say Val would live in Brooklyn?
In Brooklyn?
Knowing her personality.
Well, Brooklyn is well.
I'm thinking Park Slope. I'm
and
thinking Park Slope area.
Well, it all
Prospect
depends.
Park
It
area.
all depends because now, how long was she here? No, seriously. New York City is very segregated.
It is.
And people don't believe it, but depending on who you are, what your family background is, that's the neighborhood you would live in. And, most of the people who were like you would live there. So,
So I'd be living with a bunch of me's? Yeah, I don't think I'd like that.
like for instance, like Bensonhurst in Brooklyn years ago was a heavy Italian influenced neighborhood.
Right.
There were a lot of people there, but it had a heavy Italian presence. It's just like how Flatbush had a very heavy Jewish presence.
Right.
And Crown Heights and Kensington, and should I continue? But
no, so my family is I'm half on all sides, really, half French, half Irish. It's kind of that split.
Okay, because I'm trying to figure. You see, what I'm getting at is you would fit in pretty good at New York. My only problem is I could see you having some really bad road rage.
Yeah.
And I only say that because Herman has road rage every day.
No, he doesn't.
Herman.
No, he doesn't.
Herman, say it's not so.
No, see.
No.
I'm a true believer. Hey, Paul, what's up? Man?
Hey, Paul.
Watch, I'm gonna tell you, Val. You know who invented road rage?
Who?
People that don't drive. Imagine you have your children in the car, Val, and some idiot cuts you off. Now you're mad. Are you enraged? No, you're just mad because that fool did something that could have caused lives.
Right.
So that's why I said road rage is something that word was created by people that don't drive.
Yeah. And
I'm not mad because I'm on the road. I'm mad because this idiot just did something that could kill people.
Yeah, but we also started getting some people who decided that it's okay to stop cars and drive people out of cars.
You know what?
And they thought, oh, this sounds like a good idea. It's not a good idea.
Well, Val, watch what I'm gonna tell you. Every day I run across people that need a thumping every now and then. Is it okay to do it? No, but they do need it because if they did it, think of how much peaceful the world would be. If they knew that when I act up,
cheers,
I'm
Ricky.
thumping.
You know what? I'm gonna say, and I never thought it would happen to me, but I did experience road rage one time, and in the middle of the highway, my wife was driving. I'll be really quick, but my wife was driving. This guy comes and cuts her off. So unbeknownst to me, my wife goes and she gets in front of him and she slows down. The guy cuts us off again and stops in front of us. Now we're in a Ford Focus. It's a very small car. It's a two-door hatchback.
Yeah.
And the guy gets out of his car and we're in the middle of the highway, in the middle lane. Cars are going by 55 miles an hour, going past us. And he goes to get out of the car. So then I get out of the car, and now it looks like me getting out of a clown car. There's a little tiny person getting out of a clown car.
You're unraveling yourself as you get bigger.
The guy starts walking towards the car, and I'm like, so what do you want to do? And he looks, and he says, oh, damn. I could see in his face, oh, damn, I didn't know he was that big. And he just stood there for a second. He looked me up and down. And I said, so what do you want to do? Cars going fast, 50-something miles an hour. And he turns around and walks back to his car. But the point that I actually got out of the car, my wife did point this out. The fact that I got out of the car in the middle of a highway while cars were going by us and was about ready to fight, it was a little scary after I sat and thought about it. But I can see why. Like Herman says, every now and then someone needs a good thumping.
Yeah, I've had people come up on my car, beeping, honking, yelling. I had a man do it. He tried to go around me. There was no legal way to do it. And I slowed my car, stopped it, got out, and it was an older guy. And I thought maybe he's having a heart attack and he's trying to say, help me. So I went and I said, are you okay? And he's like, I can't believe you're driving in this area. You don't belong here. And I go, my house right 1 block away. This is my way home. And he goes, well, you're not going fast enough. I don't know. I was doing 30. I told him, you're a bad man. Bad man.
But anyway, Paul,
You're not going fast enough.
getting back to the topic, because we're starting to turn into. I was accused of having a show. What happened?
Tech Talk.
I was accused of having a show that started out talking about drones and wind up getting very distracted. So we're trying to stay focused here and professional about this.
Oh, that's what we do. Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, now, what was it when you were mentioning?
I'll just do my props. I'll just wind them up.
Well, you should just think about what you just said for a second.
Hey, stop it.
Well, I'm just saying, you watch it, Val.
When was the last time you put that thing in the air, Val?
No, we don't want you to get wound up, Val. That's all.
I'm just saying, you know what? I interviewed Miss Creature, and she's an FPV flyer yesterday, and I'm going to shrink the whole thing so it only shows her interview on the whole thing, because we got when she left, we just started talking about, I don't know, maybe donuts or something. Paul was there, maybe brownies, I don't know, but she, after watching all the videos before she came on, she asked me, so what do you fly? What are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm doing this channel, interviewing drone flyers. And I almost felt embarrassed. I brought my little freezer. I go, I'm doing this. See, they turn. I didn't know what to say.
It flies, right?
Huh?
Yeah, you've flown it.
Yeah.
Hey, here's a question from Orlando. Honest opinion on Crystal Sky, guys. What do you think about it? I'm going to be honest. I'll give you my opinion really, really quick.
Hey, Lawrence, if it's a thumbs up, I'll listen. If it's a thumbs down, I just ordered one and it's coming Monday.
First, no, hold on, Paul. Hold on, Paul. I give a sideways. Which one are you getting?
The big one, 2000 Ultra.
Thumbs up. Okay.
That
I would say is worth getting.
Well, you know what? They have two of them, and
You mean the one that's as small as my phone?
No.
Oh.
There's two. I think what are they? 7-inch.
Yes.
There's two 7-inch screens. One is at 1,000 nits or something like that.
Yeah.
The other one is like twice the brightness.
Yeah, it's called the Ultra, and that's the one I ordered.
What do you
So what is that?
Stand right under the sun.
Well, and here's what happens is I get down there by the bridge when I'm flying.
Okay.
And I've been using iPad Airs with the hood, right?
Right.
And it's like sometimes I can't get in a position where the sun isn't just coming right in there on that baby, and it's like, wow.
What I will tell you is, Paul, about the Crystal Sky is welcome to Android.
Yeah, I know. That's
now. And this is the thing that I always found funny. You listen to guys going like, "Oh, DJI was made to go with Apple. Apple, get Apple. Apple's the best thing. Get Apple."
You want to know what?
If that was the case, then why would DJI make the Crystal Sky monitors on an old?
Yeah,
Android.
But my opinion why they went Android. They didn't want to pay the bucks to Apple in order to use their system.
But they're using an old Android system.
Yeah. They're not even up to date. The operating system on the Crystal Sky is
it's
like
5 point something.
Yeah.
What's that? Jelly Bean? That was like 4 phones ago.
Well, interestingly enough, I had a Crystal Sky when they first came out. Okay, and I was flying my Inspire 1. And I got out there flying, doing my ship thing, and all of a sudden it would like glitch in and out. And come to find out, so I sent it back
Mhm.
and got a refund. And come to find out, a few weeks later, I'm flying with my iPad Airs, and the same thing was happening. It was glitching in and out. I wasn't losing control. It was glitching in and out on the camera. While a camera drone is useless when you're doing a moving target and you can't see which way the camera is pointed.
Yeah,
So I sent it back, but then I found out that what it was is that radio interference and electronic bubble was getting bigger and bigger and bigger here locally along the water with Border Patrol and everybody else and all the radar and everything going on. So that's why I moved into OcuSync and never had a problem since.
You
The
know,
light bridge just wasn't handling it.
you know, it's funny you mentioned that. I was telling Lawrence, I said, you know, with the P3, what was happening to me was we have a park here in Brooklyn. You can go across the water over into Coney Island. Now the P3 could make it out there, and it'll start to break up. But coming back, it was like you had an edited video, because it was like, and it would jump, and it would jump to the next segment and kept jumping. And I'm like, you know, I'm missing like 20 feet of movement.
Yeah.
And by the time you realize it, it'll jump, and it's right up on you, and you're looking at the shot of it 30 or maybe 100 feet away.
Yeah, that was fast.
And it's right up on you. So that's what was happening with the Wi-Fi.
Yeah, and since I've been flying now the Mavic 2 with the OcuSync 2, I can fly behind buildings and around things, you know, and never skip a beat. Where it got to the point with my light bridge on my Inspire 1, like it was iffy, and I don't know about you guys, but when it's iffy, I started saying, man, I got to do something, because this is going to give me a heart attack, you know?
Well, don't say that too loud, because we got a lot of guys here in New York City that when you tell them, I can go behind buildings.
Yeah. Paul, we might have to bleep that part out later.
Well, what I meant by that was not you guys are loose to buildings. I'm talking about there might be a shed on the side of the river where it might just go back behind it for a microsecond, you know, and then I can see it again.
Okay.
Like I'm going up or whatever.
Because
we don't have your kind of buildings.
They built canyons. They put a building here. They put another one next to it. One on the side of it. Because we built what was it there? The Barclays Center here for the Nets. The Nets. And what is it? I don't even know how many years later they started hanging buildings off the side of it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
They're building off the side of the arena to put more space for where are these people coming from? You guys, can you take some of these people?
Please. You guys in other states, please take our excess of people here in New York. They're putting up skyscrapers at an alarming rate here. You used to see one skyscraper go up. Now they're working on 4 or 5 in one area.
Wow. This is how, Paul, we have a train yard, right? And this train yard has been open for years. And they came out with this project, right? And this is what they plan to do. They needed to renovate the train yard because the train yard had one track coming in from the Long Island Railroad, and it would bring the trains, the same track that brought the trains into the train yard, brought them into the train station. So what happened is, to do any work on the trains, they had to jockey trains around, pull a train into that on the track, and pull the train off and jockeying trains.
Yep.
So they had this whole plan that they were going to build this new train yard, and you can do all the servicing that you need to do on one train on one track. So they bring the trains in, they could do whatever they have to do, but it's still the same track that was bringing the trains in to the yard. It's the same track that would bring them into
the station.
So what they did was they came up with this whole plan. They were going to renovate this thing, put another track in there. And now what else could we possibly do? You know what? It's been open for years. Let's cover it and build a city on top of it and call it a new neighborhood. That's what they decided to do. So
they're making what used to be surface trains now be subways.
Yes.
Well, they were always below ground.
Yeah.
It was below ground open, so you could
Yeah.
walk past and look down into the yard.
Yeah.
Hey, what's
Not
up?
anymore. When you walk past it now, it'll be a neighborhood.
Hey, Rodney
What's up,
Bell.
Droning?
Hi.
What's up, Droning and Rodney Bell? Sorry you're breaking it. You're leaving, dude, so early. But I wasn't actually paying attention to the chat room. I was kind of listening to the conversation. But we appreciate you guys, and we appreciate it very much. And this is going to be a regular weekly thing. Every Wednesday night from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m.
Yep.
But it will be here on Phantom Flights channel.
Wednesdays.
On Wednesdays, and then Sundays we'll do it over on my channel.
Yeah.
Very
That's
nice.
cool.
And hopefully we'll be able to do it one day where we're both live on his channel and we're both live on my channel. We're trying to plan a trip now to Philadelphia where we can actually catch Philly Drone Life, but we don't want to pull up in a car and scare him into a heart attack.
Oh no, he'd go crazy. You're liable to give him the big heart attack. He's liable to be just out, boom, gone.
I don't want his neighbors to call the police from all of the noise either.
Right? Because they'll be like, oh my God.
Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God.
Right? The Exploration Obsession, Rodney Bell in the house, Droning About Northwest. How you doing? You Drone. I always love Singer Lando. I think I met him on your channels.
Yes. He's from here in New York.
So for us,
real quick, Droning About Northwest said that he was ordering a Mobula 7 soon. Well, I'm only saying this. Where are you getting the Mobula 7 from, really quick? And I need to make a very quick point. And the reason why, where you're getting it from and which version you're ordering will make the difference. So if you can tell me really quick, Droning About Northwest, where are you ordering it from? Because I ordered this one from China, and it came with a bad board. Now I made a YouTube video, and sent it to them upon their request. Now I ordered an FrSky, which goes with this radio here, and they sent me back a FlySky receiver as a replacement, and that heifer doesn't work either. So if you're ordering from China, the Mobula 7, don't do it. Get it from somewhere here in the States, and if you do, make sure it's the HD version. That's my best advice I can do.
That's a pretty strong bird.
He said he's ordering the FlySky version.
The FrSky version, yes, order that. But if you do, you might as well get it HD, because everyone's going HD with their tiny whoops. They're going HD with the center whoops. So trust me, everything is HD now. Pretty much, if it doesn't have a 1080 camera on it, it'll be outdated by the end of the summer.
By the end of the summer.
Because it's been slowly trickling down where everyone's transitioning to HD. You see Gino and those guys racing drone video.
But you know what's funny about that, the whole technology thing? I remember I went to buy a television I'm going to say 10 years ago. Yeah, about 10, 11 years ago. And the guy in the store was like, oh, you got to get the 1080p, 120 hertz. If you want to watch the sports, you need the real-time action and this, that, and the other. Now we got 3D TV. We got this, that TV. We got your brother and your mother TV. And guess what? They're still only broadcasting in 1080p.
That's true.
Right.
Yeah, that's true.
That's
Yep.
right.
90% of the shows that I watch or whatsoever on television has just caught up to the television I bought 10 years ago. But now they got more hertz, and they got more this, and they got more that, and I don't know.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's another thing. For you guys that went out there, and brought an HDR television or a 4K television, well, just to let you know, we're transitioning to 5K, and we don't even have 4K, true 4K yet on our cable boxes.
Yeah.
It's funny that you mentioned that, because I went to buy a 4K television, right? And I wanted to use it for, the television and for the computer.
Mm-hmm.
And I was talking to the guy at Best Buy. I said to him, well, why can't I get one of these you got on the floor over here on sale? He goes, that's not going to do what you want to do. He goes, you need something that has a higher refresh rate. So I was like, well, what do I need? He took me over to the wall.
Ooh.
And pretty much Sony and the other guy there, Samsung. They're the only ones. Them and LG is all right too. Are the only ones that make these things at this high refresh rate and the colors, to get the true colors out of the 4K that he was telling me about. And then I went and spoke to somebody else, and they gave me the same line of smoke. So the television is like double the price of the ones that they have on the floor.
Yeah.
But the problem is your cable company, I don't care who you have, no one's broadcasting in 4K.
4K.
No, I got that. You're still only going to get a 1080p picture, but what I said,
the point I'm trying to make is this is the misconception. People see 4K TVs, and I know people that have 65-inch Ultra HD TVs in their living room, and it looks ultra bright when you go in. It's beautiful picture, but it's still freaking 1080p.
Look at the picture I got here.
Yeah.
I don't know about this.
What's that? Who you giggling at, Val?
Oh my gosh. I am looking at Love My Drones, and he goes, I've easily paid that much more droning about Northwest when I ordered mine from Bang You Good. Yet.
Yeah, believe it or not, I started out with Bang You Good also. It's actually Bang Good. But, but hold on. I am a level 4 of a tier 6 IP customer. So I do get my stuff a little earlier, and in the 2.5 years I've been dealing with them, I've only had 2 issues with guys, and this is the second one. So not really mad. I got my Wizard from them. I got a bunch of drones from them and have had no problems whatsoever.
What about the other one right there, the little yellow one?
This one here?
Yeah, that one.
That one flies. That's the one I hit my nephew in the head.
No, originally.
I had him as a cameraman.
When you originally got that one.
Oh, man. Yeah, that's the first time. Yeah, this one here. But they replaced it, though. They did replace it. They sent me a whole new drone. I kept the other one. I kept the first one for parts.
Hey, Night Train.
Hey, Night Train. What's up, man? And how are you? And it is Bang Good. It's Bang You Good.
I have to be careful when I read Ed's comments out loud, because every once in a while I'll start reading, I'll be just like, what?
Well, I saw you chuckling there. I had to bring that to your attention.
Going on.
Hey, Paul, you're a little quiet tonight. Why?
Well, I'm just enjoying the conversation. You guys are so knowledgeable and so in tune with what's going on. It's refreshing, and I enjoy listening to you and Herman kind of banter. It's kind of like Val and I are sitting here just kind of taking it all in, aren't we, Val?
Yep.
You know what it is? Herman and I talk all every day, or almost every day. You know, we have family time where we have to put the phones down and stuff like that. But usually, if we can't talk and we're doing something, I'll be texting him or he'll be texting me. And what it comes down to, he knows a certain amount of information, and I know a certain amount of information. Like, and I want to get to a point. This guy yesterday, has anyone seen my video of me flying downtown Brooklyn? And it's not anywhere special. One of the 2 last videos I did. But to make a long story short, the guy on Facebook leaves a comment and says, "Oh, you're ruining it for us in this drone community. You know, you're breaking laws and you're doing this." And I said, well, usually I used to snap at people like that. But I commented back to him, and I told him, well, you tell me what laws I'm breaking, and I'll tell you that I was flying legally. I'll show you how I was flying legally. So he goes, oh, well, you're flying over people. Immediately, I tell Herman that. Herman says, you could see people from that high up. So I go back. I didn't comment that, but I thought it was amusing because I was letting Herman know what was happening, transpiring
Sure.
in the conversation. And the guy goes, "Well, you're flying over people and stuff. And did you contact JFK International Airport? Did you contact LaGuardia? Did you contact Teterboro, which is in another state?" I said, "Well, if you knew anything about the drone laws in the state of New York, in New York City, you would know that to fly in New York, you need to be authorized through Lance. You no longer have." He says, "Oh, well, you didn't call the airport." I said, "Well, if you, once again, if you knew your drone laws in New York City, you would know you don't have to call the airports anymore." And so far, I haven't heard anything from him.
Yeah.
Oh
But
my
Well, in fact, the idea is the FAA doesn't want us calling the airports.
exactly, exactly. And here in New York, we were doing it up until about a year ago. And what happened is LaGuardia Airport is the friendliest airport. It's a small airport, but when you call there, they have the nicest people. They take your name or whatever, and that's it. But so many people were calling throughout the day
Yeah.
that they stop answering the phone, or they see your number on caller ID, they don't answer it.
Yeah.
And I know how that's true because I blocked my number one time and the lady answered at JFK. And she says, "Oh, hi, Mr. Clark." Like, damn, he got me. You know? But we don't have to do that anymore. Let's get
Well,
back to you.
I can understand how, that, with the advent of more and more and more and more drone flyers, how they'd have to hire a bank of people to answer the phones just from the drone pilot.
Well, I told him what they were doing is, I didn't know this, but at JFK International Airport on a slow day, they may have 10 people there working, 7 to 10 people controlling, because it's an international airport.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
and planes come in every 2 minutes on the regular, 24/7, nonstop. And what I come to realize is those people that are in the air traffic control towers, one of them has to stop and answer the phone.
Yep.
So by using Lance, and supposedly Lance is supposed to relay this information to local airports, but I don't think they've advanced that far in the firmware yet. But I think that is a main goal
I
that they're
believe
doing.
that it had to, because that's the first that's your first means of go to for permission to fly is air traffic control.
Right.
So I think they would have to have been notified first if the call no longer has to go into them. I mean, the FAA, that's next
Well,
week.
if you remember, I did a show on Sunday nights with those guys, and I did have a website that showed how Lance worked. It went from the drone pilot to the FAA computers,
Right,
and the FAA computers linked to the airport.
right. They would
Okay,
have
so
to.
right. And that's how they're authorizing us. But I also mentioned to this guy, with the 300 plus drone flyers in New York City, if I was doing something illegal, don't you think I would have been arrested by now?
Yeah.
You
Maybe.
said how many flyers?
I said 300 plus,
Oh,
just to throw a number out there, because he doesn't live in New York, so he wouldn't know. But the point I'm trying to make is
and
every day, and Herman can verify this, here in New York, Val and Paul, there's at least 5 people that I know personally are flying.
nah,
And
there's on the air all day, every day.
yeah. And night doesn't stop. We have guys that work at night. What do you think they do when they go on their lunch break?
Sure.
They go to the roof of their building. They go out in the backyard. Yeah, exactly. Phantom Hydras here in Canada, the only way to contact someone to fly in a control zone is to call a tower. Well, it used to be like that here in New York. But
Yep.
like I said, it started getting to the point where on certain days, I used to fly early in the morning. Herman and I fly early in the morning. And I would call JFK Airport and say, okay, at 9 o'clock, I'm going to be in so and so. And she'd be like, yeah, on 35th Street. And she would know where I was. You'll be up for an hour, but they were taking them, that call was taking them from doing their job.
Yep.
She was only getting up to make coffee anyway.
Hey, Drone Effects with Claude. Drone Effects with Claude. I did see you on earlier.
Going to make coffee.
Hey, Claude.
I did
Yeah,
see you on.
I'm thinking what they probably do is they probably just send, not even email, just something straight over Wi-Fi So that's probably going all the time, just clicking
Well,
on.
wouldn't you like to know, like when you call and you got that gal you usually talk to before, did they write it down or is she just giving you a verbal okay and didn't pass the information on to
From what I
anybody else?
understand, Paul, from what I understand, they were
Right.
supposed to keep a log because
Okay.
at that time, in the event that a drone went down in my area, they could say, okay, Lawrence called. This is his registration number.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's obvious not his drone because I have a sticker on my drone or whatever. That was
Right.
the covering your behind.
So can I ask a question? You remember when they had the problem over in England where they said drones were flying close to their airport and they shut the whole airport?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Did they ever figure out what happened with
Yes,
that?
yes, they did. Yes, they did. And they should feel, and I want to curse so bad because they should feel like real knuckleheads
No foul.
because they found out that they weren't actually drones. What happened is where the airport perimeter is, they have little towers with lights in them.
Right.
And these towers, if from the perspective, I could kind of understand it from the perspective that they were looking at the lights. It may have looked like a drone hovering, but only because it was a blinking light and they could not see the tower in the distance. And it was in the distance. To make a long story short, they were never really drones.
Now, let me ask you a question. This
Here
was
we
reported
go.
by
Here we go.
This was reported by pilots.
What happened?
This was reported by pilots.
No, these were reported by local civilians at the airport that thought they saw. And so at first, if you notice, they changed the story. They said pilots had saw it from the airplane, which was a lot of crap or bull. But what happens is, but hold on, Herman. What happens is, if I say the sky's going to turn on fire in 1 hour, okay, and nothing's happening, these pilots were coming in looking for drones. So imagine there was a drone alert out where there were no drones, and these pilots were seeing lights that weren't there, or they were seeing lights in the distance that may have looked like a drone, but there were no freaking drones.
Now, you know what? This leads me to believe a few different things because it has to go a couple of ways, and it can't be one, and it can't be all. Aeroscope.
Yes.
My knowledge, I was told.
Hold on, you got to explain what Aeroscope is for the people who don't know what it is. But Paul and Val, I don't know if you know what Aeroscope is, but he needs to explain that first.
Aeroscope was supposed to have been a black box, like a little suitcase or like your little drone case that opens up, and if I think it was up to 8 miles or something like that, they can pick up drones up to 8 miles away.
Wow.
Out of the DJI drones, which 90% of them are, and be able to detect where the pilot is, what the drone is doing, your name and email.
Wow. So
with that being the case, when you got these drone sightings and your radars don't see any drones, you got your tower people in your tower don't see any drones, but a civilian on the ground shut your airport down?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And you have this black box.
Get the airspace, right?
You have this black box technology. Okay, so why don't they have it at all of the major airports? You want to know why? Because no one wants to sit there with a little black box hoping a drone will come. Use it like a defibrillator. Use it like a defibrillator. Oh no, a drone. You break the glass. Hold on. You break the glass and the bells start ringing and you snatch the case out and you open the box and you say, I don't see nothing.
No, but this is why I reported to you last week that what they're starting to do is that where there are 5 or more reported incidents of drones being flown, they're going to start surveillance in those areas.
Yes, the police are.
Oh God.
So that's why I was saying,
for what purpose?
Because they're supposedly no fly areas, and they've been noticing guys flying in those areas.
Right. For example, here in New York, Manhattan Island. You can fly in all the boroughs except Manhattan, but you still see videos of Manhattan, right?
Right.
So where you see these videos of Manhattan around the Freedom Tower, the
sir.
Empire State Building, major tourist attractions. So
Oh.
what they're going to do is set up in surveillance with police with drones, and they're going to survey the area. Now, my question is, what's to stop another police officer from seeing another police officer drone in a distance and not thinking that, you understand what I'm saying, Paul?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's going to be registered to the police department when they pick it up with
Ooh, drone gun.
police drone. But the one thing what I was saying to you about these no-fly zones, and I was just looking at them the other day. I don't want to mention it because I'm a believer of not giving them any ideas.
Hey, Robert.
And All Reliable is still wide open.
I understand what you're saying, but
Yeah. Across the way, it's still wide open. It's still open. You can fly there. That whole Hudson River.
yes. Now keep in mind, guys, where we fly in here in New York, around the island of Manhattan is helicopter central. Now, the only
Yes.
reason Phantom Flight 101 and I get away with flying helicopter central is because the time we're flying, the area we're flying, and with the security and knowledge of the areas that we are flying, which is most crucial.
Right.
Because you can get shots of Manhattan and not be in Manhattan.
Right.
We crossed the water to New Jersey. Now you have to know your airways. This is why Herman was saying eventually to get to the point where you can't fly unless you're 107. And that being the day that we fly, it was a Sunday. It was Sunday morning, and we did the research to find out that at that time of the morning, there are so few helicopters flying down the Hudson River, it would be optimum time. Now, there are tourist helicopter companies, there are commuter helicopter companies, and then there are just helicopter companies just advertising. Okay, then there's news, there's sports, there's so many helicopters, there's military, there's so much stuff flying around. But on Sunday morning at 8 o'clock in the morning, everyone who's hungover is home in bed. Everyone in Manhattan is just waking up to go to breakfast, and these helicopter companies are refueling their helicopters for Monday.
Ah.
Okay. Now there are still a few helicopters going up and down the Hudson. So now, if we want a shot of Manhattan Island from New Jersey, where we are, you have to cross the Hudson River to get close-up shots. Some guy will say, "Oh, you're flying in Manhattan. Oh my God, the world's coming to an end." We're not in Manhattan. We're hovering out over the water, but it looks like we're in Manhattan. But to get to that vantage point, you have to cross the Hudson River at 150 feet, because anything higher than that, you may risk getting hit by a helicopter or anything. Right, Herman?
About a half a mile or so.
Yeah, it's a half-mile trip. You travel across the water, and then you rise up. Oh, take it easy. And you rise up to get that shot, Paul, and then you angle, you do all your maneuvering, and then you come back. Because Herman will tell you the last time we were in New Jersey flying, he was over there and there was a helicopter approximately the same height he was. And the helicopters do have the technology to see you, especially police helicopters.
Well, considering how I was out over the water near a building, and I just see this helicopter coming up on the building, and then he poked in behind me, and I'm like, whoa, why are you coming this way?
Yeah. Because everyone wants to be that next helicopter pilot to get hit by a drone, to be on the news. Helicopters have, and it sounds silly, but you remember we were at High Bridge, and
the military.
We were at High Bridge, and a military helicopter turned towards one of our drone pilots, and as he pulled out of the way and watched it go by, and it didn't have to fly over the bridge at 100 feet, 150 feet, but it did, which was completely illegal, and it was a military copter.
Well, he's military, so he could probably get away with that. But with that, as far as him turning to, I just think that it was probably him.
You can't tell me he didn't see 5 drones in the air. on
Right. But when five of us are not in the same spot, it
That-
would always look like he was going to run somebody over.
Oh my gosh.
Because I picked him up in my camera too.
right.
Because he was above me and over to the right.
Right, I remember because you were across the water. But
Right,
anyway, enough of that. Enough of that. This is your show, man. What's going on?
You had that other topic, didn't you? Well, because I have this
Oh yes, Paul.
talk.
I need you and your knowledge because you're a 107 pilot and you may want to key on this and key in on this part of the conversation. Let me just read this real quick. First of all pilots break the rules all the time. Talking about those that have regular private pilot. Yeah, this is true. They do it, all pilots. I see it all the time. But getting to the topic that I really wanted to discuss, and I feel is a crucial topic, and no one ever questions it. But I've been hearing more and more about it on YouTube and on the internet, and it involves a double standard the FAA treats drone pilots as opposed to regular pilots around the world. And what I mean by that, Paul, is there's a double standard. I'm allowed to get into a vehicle that weighs 3 tons and fly it at 200 and something miles per hour over people, but I can't fly a 13-pound piece of plastic over a street or over a bridge.
Yep.
And what I mean by, but hold on, there's a double standard with the FAA. The FAA says it's illegal to fly a drone over people, but they're doing it commercially every day. So does that mean if I become a 107 licensed pilot, I can start doing it and not get in trouble? No, I don't think so.
Right.
Well,
the interesting thing is I just took my relicensure 2 or 3 weeks ago, and they significantly made the questioning harder by, instead of asking you simple questions, they give you a paragraph and you have to try and figure it out.
Oh.
And they started adding in things that a regular licensed private pilot wouldn't he have to know. It's like, why would I have to know that the ceiling of a Class D airspace is 3,000 feet? I can't fly that high.
True.
So afterwards, I went out and I said to the FAA examiner, and it was a young gal. She was really nice. I said, among drone pilots, we know that regular private pilots and commercial pilots don't like drone pilots. We get that. And I said, and we know also that these tests aren't made by drone pilots. They're made by regular pilots that are out to try and trip us up. And she just got a big grin on her face and she says, yep, that's the way it is.
Yeah, but didn't you have something to say about that, Herman, as far as the AMA?
Well, I was listening to some guys the other night talking, and I believe it was on Roger's show on Canadian Drone Hub. They had a young kid on there, and he had mentioned the other day about how the AMA guys, they don't like us drone pilots. The AMA guys say, you drone pilots, you're ruining the hobby. The first one's not true, and the second one is true. The drone pilots are ruining this RC hobby. The problems and all the restrictions have come because of the stupidity of some of our fellow drone pilots. We're feeling it for everybody. It's not just the guys who fly the fixed wing planes and stuff like that. It's even us drone pilots that just want to do our thing and stay within the confines of the laws and the rules and a normal behavior, and not get out there and do some crazy things like looking in people's window, flying over ballparks, it's stupid things like that. Trying to drop down as low as you can in the middle of the bridge to see if you can get shots of the guy's windshield, and it's just nonsense like that. We had a guy who flew his drone into some woman's bedroom window in Manhattan last year.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. It's stuff like that. When the Phantom 4s first dropped, we had one guy in particular, DJI told me at the store. This guy bought a few of them. He got caught. He whizzed by the police helicopter in Manhattan, and they found him. But this guy, he's a meathead. You know, and we're feeling it for those guys.
Thanks, Rodney, for coming in.
What I also don't understand is this. Why are drone pilots? Seriously, I'd like to get an answer from somebody tonight. Why are drone pilots afraid to join the AMA?
Well, in my question would be, you know, and I understand your question, but my question is this: why isn't there a drone pilot on the board of the AMA?
I don't know. I don't find that drone pilots care about the AMA.
Yep. But I think it's a two-way street. You know, it's kind of, the AMA is seen, because I used to be a member of the AMA back when I was flying the great big stuff way back when. But whenever, you know, I would read the notes from their annual meetings and all kinds of things, it just didn't seem like I was part of that group, even though I was paying the dues and all that kind of thing. It's kind of like an Elks Club or a Lions Club or whatever. They get this little cliquey type of thing going at the top, and they're always willing to take your dues, but are they willing to listen to you and put you on different committees and boards and those kinds of things? Well, I don't know. I don't know what the answer is.
Well, Phantom Hodges says in the USA, you can take a course and get your Part 107 and fly commercially here in Canada, but you have to do a test too. So I'm assuming that test is a flight review.
Yep, flight test. Yep.
Really?
Well, this is what I'm saying as far as the hobbyists are concerned. If and when that time comes that you're squeezed into the parks, we have a park here in New York, right, or here in Brooklyn in particular, a lot of guys fly at. If the city really wanted to be nasty about it, you wouldn't be flying from the front lawn. You won't be flying from the parking lot. You'd be forced to go on the airfield in the back.
Yep.
Now, if you're not an AMA member, guess who won't be flying his drone?
Yeah, and it's getting pretty bad here.
You start talking about, the alienation, no, we alienate ourselves.
Yep. Yeah.
Well, Phantom Hodges says it doesn't matter how much experience you have, you still have to do a flight review. And I could understand that, and don't say that too loud because we don't need something else here in New York.
FAA ideas.
I'm being blinded here by the sun.
We don't need to give the FAA any ideas.
Well, that's kind of the rub, isn't it, Herman? I mean, we don't need to give them any more ideas for more restrictions.
Right.
If we could come up with the answer to keep the idiots from flying, just going to Best Buy, buying one, and think they're a commercial drone pilot, that they can do whatever they want to do.
Well, hold on, Paul. That's a little hard to do because living here in New York, and Herman can verify this, you have tourists that come to New York by the tens of thousands. And what happens is they hear you can't fly in New York, and then they come to New York and they see a drone flying by. So what they do is they run to the local DJI store, drone store, they buy a DJI drone, and we had this happen last year. Tourists came to New York, brought a drone, went up in the middle of Manhattan, which is a complete no-fly zone, but because he flies drones at home, he didn't know that Manhattan was a no-fly zone. He goes up, crashes his drone through the window of a skyscraper. This was on a Saturday or something like that. And then he went Monday morning upstairs, and he's very noble for this, but this is how they treat tourists. He went up, he said, I'm here to claim a drone. I may have crashed through a window. And they said, oh, we have your drone upstairs. And when he got upstairs to collect his drone, they arrested him. Now he was there to say, I'm sorry, and to pay for the window that he broke. But just to let you guys know what kind of warmongering and fear they're trying to put into people about flying in New York, they arrested him.
Well, I'm gonna show you what can solve a lot.
And I think they should have.
I'll show you what can solve a lot of problems, and this is something that no one is doing, and I know it's not being done with drones.
The sun is killing me. I'm gonna move
I
on.
don't care where you buy it, Best Buy, I don't care who. You know, when you go into your car dealership, when you go to buy a car, the car dealer can do all the paperwork for you. You can have the car registered. You can get the plate sent to you and everything like that, your permanent plate. that car's already been registered with the motor vehicles before it even leaves the dealership because he can do
Yeah.
all that paperwork.
Yeah.
Why don't the stores do that? The stores that carry these drones, why aren't they doing it? Why are not the distributors registering your drone before it leaves that store?
Like
Yep.
they do a gun. Exactly. Like they do a freaking gun.
Because now I can't go into that store and buy that drone and take it out and go someplace and fly it into somebody's window without repercussions and consequences.
Yeah,
Right.
and that retailer should also be responsible to give you not just the DJI owner's manual. They should also include in there what you should know before you fly type of thing. What does it mean, restricted areas? What does it mean? You know, where do I go to find out this information?
You heard about the
necessarily
14-year-old, but you
But-
heard about the 14-year-old, Paul, that flew over the stadium, right?
Yeah.
You know what that was? Some kid wanted a drone. His parents brought him that drone, and he went and updated, did whatever he had to do. And he said, "Oh, wow, there's a game going on. I'm going to go get shots of the game." And like Herman said, had he had to register that, and like you said, have a list of rules that or download this app before you know UAV forecast, so you see you're in a no-fly zone, anything like that. Hey, JT, that would have helped, because I'm gonna tell you right now, that kid just brought that drone a few days before, or just got that drone a few days before. What would have happened had he lost GPS connection?
Oh yeah.
9 out of 10 people cannot fly a drone once you lose GPS connection. I see it all the time.
If he lost GPS connection, if he was
Manic.
enough to fly the drone, he could have gotten it back. The thing is, what I'm not understanding with this whole thing here is that this, for one, from what I do understand, is that this is not the first time he has done something like this.
Right.
That kid you're talking about, this is not the first time he's done this. So he's well enough versed on the fact that if you don't update your DJI app, then it won't update
the ground. It couldn't get off the ground.
recognize the no-fly zones. Because the no-fly zones are all new.
But Val, you won't have to worry about this kind of stuff until you get a little more advanced in flying. But it's good to know, and it's good to know people who know.
Right.
Because before I started flying, I'm the kind of person, I kind of picked this off from my wife, but I'm the kind of person that when I research something, I research it to the point where I can't find any more videos, I can't find any more information. And then even on top of that, I make a decision on what I'm going to do.
You see what Night said, he had multiple offenses?
Yes, exactly my point. So why are they letting this kid have so many drones? He's going to go out and get smacked on the hand, because right now they're not arresting minorities for flying drones. And according to the FAA, you don't have to register your drone if you're below a certain age here in the United States.
Oh, that
Well,
doesn't
You
make sense.
can't register it.
So in that case, what I'm saying is you should make the parent register it.
They do have to, because you can't fly it without that number on it, that registration number.
But what registration number? It's so easy for someone to go to the store and put in an email and they're registered.
I totally understand that, but what I'm trying to say to you is that what's making you register your drone?
Yeah, the fact that you can't get off the damn ground.
What's making you register your drone? As far as you registering your drone with the FAA, what's making you do that? Your morals is what's making you do that.
Right,
Yep.
right. Yeah, that's true.
Now, if that thing had to be registered before you got it out the store, guess where it's not going to fly?
True.
Wall parks, over the UN.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, here in New York, you get too close to the UN, they send a helicopter after you.
I don't know what that's like.
Or you can't go out and land on the Statue of Liberty anymore either.
Well, yeah, that too. Hey, Johnson.
I don't know what any of those two things are like.
I don't know what they're like, but we do have a friend that is the reason they have a no-fly zone around Statue of Liberty, and that's Cool Bic 420, because up until a certain time, he could not show the video footage, but now on his page, he can show the footage of him hitting the Statue of Liberty in her rear right shoulder because he got a drone back from DJI. And you know how DJI, they send you a drone and everything's reset. Well, he took off and didn't check his return to home. And when he went around the Statue of Liberty behind it, he lost signal. She went into return home mode and made a beeline towards her shoulder.
Oh.
Now they did get the drone, and when he went to go claim the drone, they did fine him, and he did have to go to court, and they made him promise. I think, what was it, Herman? A year or something. They made him promise he would not show footage from it.
Oh wow.
But Paul, why didn't she get out of the way?
Right. Well, couldn't she duck like this? But
if she had, a million New Yorkers would have passed out on the spot.
you know what? That might not have been so strange being in New York, Paul. We've seen Stranger.
Well,
We have seen.
Well, in Ghostbusters, we've seen her walk down the street. You know.
right.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
She just ducked.
Night Train says should be the same meet criteria. Then you are allowed to purchase, and then that should be linked. It's true. If you make these people who buy the drones register on the spot like a gun, I guarantee you half the people who have drones wouldn't do it. You know why? 'Cause there's a lot of dirty people out there.
Although here's the next thing, and this is where this will go, because like I know, because we live in a city like New York that says no to guns, but yet we still have them.
Yeah.
Every gun used illegally was purchased originally legally.
Yeah. Did you catch what he just said?
Yep.
Mhm.
So what I'm saying to you is the same way gun owners seem to lose their damn guns. Somebody robbed me, somebody broke into the house, somebody stole the house. What's gonna happen? Who
I was
knows?
just commenting, dirt bikes are as dangerous or more. It's true, but the point that we're trying to make is, and here's that double standard again. And Herman pointed this out to me, and he always repeats it, but they can't make drones illegal. You know why? Because they charge a tax for it. And anything the United States charges a tax for, you can't deem illegal.
Can't collect taxes on it.
Remember when alcohol was illegal? Then they could do what they want. But now that alcohol is legal, they can penalize you for killing somebody drunk under the influence of alcohol. But drinking it, you can drink until you pass the hell out.
I love it. Mike Rich is saying, "Hey, buddy, you want to buy a drone?"
He's like the drug dealer in the corner, right?
Somebody on the corner, just around down the alley down there. Hey,
Paul, he go like this, Paul. And open up, and he's got Maverick series on this side.
Take it from his jacket.
Yeah.
Hey guys, never took a break from for our commercial sponsor.
Yes.
What I'd like to do is get a little word from our sponsors. So tonight's show, Wednesday night, is live with
those guys.
Oh, God.
I may have been a little early because I'm always late, so now I did it early and I still missed.
Don't worry about it. You can get the next one to get us out of here.
Night Train says he's got some lipos. I'll cut you in on a deal. I just ordered some lipo batteries.
He's going to be a lipo dealer.
Oh yeah, right. You know what? Hold on. That may not be funny. Could you imagine here in New York we have a park, that's a legal park where there's a lot of racing drone pilots they fly from.
Yeah.
And I could imagine walking there with a trench coat. I got those lipos, y'all.
Yeah. Just kind of strolling through there saying, "Psst, psst, I got lipos. You need them?
4S, 2S. What do you need? What do you need?
What do you need?
If you want 6X, you got to come with me back to the car.
Yeah.
You know what? You get two guys. One guy collects the money, and you go get the battery from the guy over there.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's how they do. That's how they do drugs here in New York sometimes. So that I'm not touching the drugs. I just take the money And then
I
you
just
go
think
over there, and
anchor.
you
Yep.
go over there. When we had phone booths, it was so funny back in the day. You could give the guy the money, and you'd go to the phone booth, and what you wanted was in the phone booth before you got there. But now there's no more phone booths. I love my drones
Over.
as like a crack dealer. But think about it, it's going to get to that point where people are like, yo, you want to fly a drone?
I got another one for you.
I know where you can fly a drone.
I got another one for you.
What's that?
Talking about that, how long does it take before? How long does it take before there's total no flies in a lot of places, and there's that 107 guys like, I'll open your drone for you for $50. I'll let you use a waiver for $50.
Or
Listen.
or you're going to have to fly, and you're going to have a visual observer and
Yep.
another guy that's a lookout.
Right.
Well, see, it's funny because that's why we fly with radios, and we fly with two channel scanners. And what
Uh-huh.
we do is we program one to the local precinct's frequency. So, excuse me, in the event, and then we have the other channel for us to communicate on. So, in the event that we hear, oh, the storm is coming, we know to start getting ready and start. The storm is here, we know to start scattering. But
Scatter.
it's to the point now where we fly here in New York, and Herman and I especially, helicopters will come and they'll hover and they'll collect your drone data, then they'll go away. But as of lately, and since last year, when the helicopters see me or Herman and I flying, they usually keep going. They don't stop and hover, which is a good thing because we're on that make-believe list of drone pilots that fly in New York. And if they check their records, I can guarantee you they've seen Herman and I all over the state, all over New York City in the 5 boroughs, and have not seen any rogue incidents or has there been any problems?
Well, you remember they were saying that how they were just collecting data.
Yes.
So I'm just curious to know what they're collecting all this data for. What are they saving it for?
Right.
And if it's to use in a real world common sense issue, and you've seen my drone up about, I don't know, 12, 1100, 1500 times, when is it going to get to the point where, oh, that's just Herm, he's flying?
Yeah, because we have to worry about that. And now with
Is it
drone,
gonna get to that point?
what's happening, Paul and Val, with drone tech here in New York, I can buy a device and put it, I'm looking for something hypothetically. I can buy a device and put it on my roof, and it's a mini no-fly zone.
Really?
Yes, you can buy a little box that will make your house a no-fly zone. So for
Wow.
all those people that are worried about, oh, drones are looking at me through my kitchen window, or drones are looking at me in my bathroom, you get one of those devices and leave me the hell alone.
I don't know if it's that simple.
Well, no, it's not, because you have to register it, and I think you have to get a permit for it because it
Unless you go down the alley and the guy standing there opens his coat up and say, "Hey, you want a no-fly zone device?
Yeah.
How
Yeah.
many-
We got
How many watt do you want?"
or the black box. You want to know every drone around here for 8 miles?
Yeah.
I got the black box.
Oh my gosh.
Somebody has that in their house.
Says illegal. That's just Herman. They arrest the blank screams the FAA. What's up, remote?
Well, the other thing that we're on the verge with technology that some young hacker is going to attach to a drone, and I pray this doesn't happen, but in my mind, and it's gonna squawk the ident of a 747, and it's gonna drive the FAA absolutely bonkers.
See, here you go, Paul, giving people ideas.
Oh, we talked about this, darling. No.
Right, poke him with the stick, Val.
She does.
I think the problem we have, and why we're getting so many rules is because people have a lot of fear surrounding things that have not happened.
But Val, the rules are being made by people who don't freaking fly.
I know.
And they're being made.
They don't fly. They're scared. They're trying to overcompensate, And then we end up where I'm in the backyard flying at about 5 feet.
Exactly. And Paul, you remember back when they had the original Phantom and the Phantom 2, those things had flyaways and stuff like that. You know, someone commented on one of my videos. They said to me, "Aren't you afraid you're going to lose the drone?" And I answered back to them like, "No, I trust the technology."
Yes.
The thing is, these laws, I think, are being made surrounded by old world technology and not what's been out for the last 5 years.
Yep.
You
Or
know,
the stories that Uncle Billy told about back in 2000 when he lost a drone.
right.
You know?
And it's funny because I'm a member at one of these AMA fields. And when I first went there and I put the drone up and I'm out over 2,000 feet from the field, this one guy said to me, "Oh, don't fly over that side." I'm like, "Why? What happened?" He goes, "Well, a couple of members, they lost their drone over there." I was like, "I got good signal." He goes, "No, there's something out there that's stealing drones."
It's a Bermuda Triangle that just kind of breezed in.
You know what it is? I'm
Okay.
going to tell you, if you have a flyaway in today's time with the DJI product, it's either because you didn't look at that little bar that said bad calibration or move your drone, or you didn't pay attention to your satellites or something. And usually when people lose their drones, it's pilot error. Because I've seen DJI drones do some weird things. I've seen them do a lot of things, but as of lately, you rarely hear of flyaways with DJI drones.
Well, you were with me when mine broke.
Yes.
What
That was not funny, guys. That was not funny.
Know what they were doing? How would they have gotten that drone back?
Right, because where Herman was flying was still within line of sight, but because the sky was like perfectly blue all the way across, I'd say up to a quarter of a mile away, he was even less. He could still see the drone, but he lost GPS. Okay. And when you lose GPS, people's hearts start pounding, they start sweating, they pee on themselves, whatever the hell people do when they lose GPS. But Herman didn't panic. And that made the difference because he knows how to fly with and without GPS.
And what makes that so funny is that I hear guys always say, "Oh, the camera drones are easy to fly. They're easy to fly. Oh, those camera drones are easy to fly." Put it in Addy mode.
Yeah.
Put it in Addy mode.
Now, Herman,
work for you.
Tell them what you had to do to land your bird, though.
Oh, I had to fight against the wind, go this way, turn it back towards the wind, and push downward towards the wind, and turn it back and come back into when I can keep fighting against the wind because it'll keep pushing it out. And we were on that little island. So every time the wind would blow it right past the island, I had to turn it and bring it back in a little further, then bring it down some more. So when I got it over that, what was that, a little cabana or whatever that thing was? Yeah, whatever. I don't know what they call those things, but I got it over that, and I was less wind over that, and I just brought it down and I hand caught it.
Right, because when he came in to land, he came in from my right side. And I'm like, okay, I hear Herman coming in to land. I'm doing a shot. I'm focusing in a shot. And then all of a sudden he goes past me. And I'm thinking he's doing the shot like that. But that was Addy mode. GPS, you take your hand off the stick and you stop. But in Addy mode, when you're moving with the wind, you don't stop until you counter that action.
All I did was point that thing towards where I was and started to come home. And she flew like right past the little island. I had to turn it around and bring it back.
Herman, we got 3 minutes left, and I think you did very good on your first live stream.
Yes, very good.
Live stream. The other one was a real live stream too, but this was your first official true test.
Oh, excuse me.
Herman, good job, Herman.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now, of course, you know I have not received my check for saying that yet.
Don't worry about it. It's in the mail. It's in the mail.
It's in the mail. I've heard that one before. All right,
we've had a lot of great people in the panel too.
Oh yes, believe me, it wouldn't be the same without you guys.
Val, you're going to know so much about DJI drones before you get one. Someone's going to be like, "Can I help you set up?" You know, nah, I navigate these streets.
Now that I know I can go Addy mode, I'm cool.
No, listen.
Val, if first you learn how to fly in Addy mode.
Listen, Paul can verify this, and so can Herman. you can get some of the best shots in ADI mode, because what happens is if you have a subject here and the wind is blowing in this direction, all you have to do is put it in ADI mode and it'll be the smoothest cinematographic shot
Yep.
you've ever taken in your life. And then when you're going far enough, you just put it back in GPS and it'll stop.
Yep.
Wow.
Oh yeah, I've shot a couple of things
I mean,
in ADI mode, just drifting by.
Yeah, ADI mode in not extreme winds, but in a nice breeze is like when you release a balloon and you don't watch it kind of just gently float.
Yes, and that's how you have to think of it. That's how you say, hey, Brendan O'Connor,
Sticks.
is there anything
Too
but DJI? Well, we were talking a little bit about racing drones. We're not a DJI channel. Don't ever think that we are. We do talk about other drones. We did mention the Anafi, but
Well, I still had the
natural flow is that, and I'm not familiar with that. Is that
Dynamics Evolve.
yeah?
Yeah, it's a nice little drone. The only problem with it, just see, this is the thing. Everybody mentions DJI, and I think that a lot of people get badge conscious when it comes to drone. There's a lot of other drones out there that's nice, but see, here's where they lose. Like this X-Dramatic, the drone I just mentioned, the Evolve. It's not a bad drone, not at all. It's a very sturdy drone. I like the build quality of it. It's all carbon fiber. It has a nice flip out screen. It's bigger than the DJI screen. It has a nice display on the controller and everything. I love the way it's all set up. But its transmission system is only good for 1 mile.
Yeah. Which means with obstruction,
at 3/4 of a mile.
right, which means with obstructions, you're going to get half a mile to 3/4. You're right about that.
And in the city, I don't know, it's a Wi-Fi thing too. And then you know how it is here in the city. You start getting, I think you're halfway across the park and line of sight and it'll be like fuzzy. I'd be better off just looking at it.
Hey,
Well,
Val, you're still with us?
Oh, I'm
And
still
the
here.
price,
Okay.
and the price isn't cheap either.
Right, and it's more than the Phantom.
Yep.
For a bird that does 60 miles an hour, to be honest,
But you're
I
going
don't think they need to make drones faster unless you unless it's for corporate reasons. To be honest.
Real commercial shoots like where you want to follow a
Right,
sports
like
car up the side of a mountain or something. Yeah.
Right, or you're doing line testing out in Nebraska or someplace, and the lines are a 1/4 mile apart. You need to get from point A to point B in minutes, in a minute or two, in 3 minutes. Not freaking take 10 minutes to get there, and then you got to turn around because your battery's going down.
Yep, exactly.
Remote Pilot Australia says Dynamics Evolves, beautiful build and controller, less than 2 kilometer range, 10 minutes less endurance than a P4P, and only 12 megapixel camera. Now, see, that's the problem, because already they're slowly transitioning to 8K, even though they haven't done 4K yet, truly. But it's a smoke and mirrors thing. It's a beautiful bird. I believe a few people will buy it, but I don't think that you'll see it doing anything. I don't see one of those birds flying here in the city like New York, because there's too much interference that can mess with that bird. You're going to go with something more reliable. And I hate to say it, but OcuSync and Lightbridge 2. Okay. And if you notice in Herman and I videos and a few other people that fly here in New York City, if you see where we fly, imagine taking that wireless bird, that Wi-Fi bird, and trying to fly some of the buildings we do. You couldn't pass under a bridge. 3DR Solo. If you turned it on a certain angle, you lost connection. And its first instinct, it's the fastest drone out there, better than DJI with a return home. With 3DR Solo, if you lose connection within 5 seconds, it's already starting to return home. Okay, now what happens is if you're flying under a bridge with Wi-Fi and you lose signal connection, well, guess what? It's going to go up and hit the top of the bridge. You don't have to worry about that with DJI. I never passed under a bridge with my 3DR Solo for that reason.
Now, Paul has the Mavericks, and they're loaded down with all those upward sensors now. I think
Yeah.
with anything that DJI puts out is going to have those upward sensors and that little beacon light on the bottom.
Yeah.
Right. Signal strength at short range is everything, not just using for distance. Well, see, that's why I'm
Right.
getting into that. And what you said, exploration obsession, is 100% true. And that's why I'm getting into long distance drones. Right
Right.
now, they have drones, racing drones that can go anywhere from 3 to 6 miles. And it's not that you want to go 3 to 6 miles, but I could stand with a skyscraper in front of me. If I can punch 3 to 6 miles away, when I go on the other side of this building, I won't have signal loss because the signal is that strong, and
Yeah.
it punches through the building.
Well, see, here's the thing.
Good night, Jay Santiago, and thank you so much for hanging, bro.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for coming in.
The
If you
Phantom 5 Day one, I don't think it's coming. Go ahead.
remember when they came out with the version 2 to the P4 Pro, everything about those two drones were identical except for the transmission system. What they're telling you is this, that both of those drones were rated at 4.3 miles.
Yes,
On optimal perfect conditions,
4.3 miles.
will travel that distance and have telemetry. The difference between the Lightbridge and the OcuSync is that after a certain amount of feet with the Lightbridge, you break from 1080p and you start breaking down. With the OcuSync, what they found was then the OcuSync, which is what guys like and don't understand why they like it, that after a further distance, you don't have that breakdown in transmission system.
Yep.
That's what was made it so great. So in optimal conditions, like if we were in the middle of the country in a farm area, we can fly 20 farms down
Yeah.
with both drones.
Yep.
No problem. Just that with the Lightbridge, I'm now after a certain distance, I'm going to have from 1080p, it's going to start to break down. Whereas with the OcuSync, I'll still have that steady 1080p
Yep.
video connection.
Bye
Later,
now.
Later, dude.
There's two reasons that I sold both of my Inspires and ended up with now the Mavic 2s. The first reason is Lightbridge, just like you said. And I was begging and praying for somebody, even if I could send it back to DJI and have them put OcuSync in the Inspire, because I like the airframe. I like the way it flew. But now that I'm flying the Mavic 2s, they're so much quieter than that Inspire. You put that Inspire in the air, everybody's looking. It's like, what the hell's that? You know?
Yeah.
ESCs. And plus, the Inspire was on Lightbridge, original Lightbridge.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, well,
Yes,
like
it was.
pros are on the Lightbridge too.
Yep. You see, I had both an Inspire and a Pro, and then I went and I bought the Inspire 2, and which has the upgraded, Lightbridge as well.
Yeah, Lightbridge was a thing.
But I ended up getting rid of it because I'm thinking it doesn't fly any different than the two Inspires that I had, and you had to have two batteries, and a pair of batteries then was like $370. So it's like okay, no.
Well, I guess with that was also part of their learning curve.
Brendan O'Connor says more portable, I'm guessing, meaning that's the direction they're heading with drones, but portable is not always better. Because I don't know about you, but and this is a scenario I pray never happens to any one of you Mavic flyers, but if you're ever hit or clipped by a bird, the odds of those legs swinging in are so high, as opposed to something hitting a Phantom and it's not going to break. If anything, the props will break. I'm saying, but a bird strike to propellers on a Mavic could make that bird, one of the legs fold in. Now you have Mavics can fly with half a prop and all of that, but if that leg is folded back, that messes with the aerodynamic design.
Down or back or whatever. Yep.
But anyway, Herman, it's 7:08. What are we gonna do?
Well, the conversation was going, but
Herman, you got. Here's what Val and I are pretty flexible, but I know that Lawrence. Usually, this is about dinner time for Lawrence, isn't it?
Yeah.
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 By the way, was that brisket absolutely delicious?
Oh my goodness.
Ask him how much he brought for me.
How much did you bring for when you had your drone flight?
I
So
did.
that Herman
did.
could eat?
I confess, it was a 3-pound brisket, and I must have eaten about 2.5 of it. I'm being honest, because my wife had a little sliver and my daughter had a little sliver, and it was so good. And I don't usually do this, but it was so good. I got up in the middle of the night and I was like, wait a minute, let me see how it tastes cold. And I went to the refrigerator and I took a strip out, and the house is totally dark. And I took a strip out with a napkin, and I'm sitting there in the dark, like, that's not bad.
Well, as much as you like that, you don't be cooking that every 2 or 3 days.
You know what? I'm gonna come up with more. The next time I do it, I'm gonna make a pulled brisket this time, because it was so tender that I just scored it and it just fell apart. So we're almost pulled brisket, but now I know for another 30 minutes it'll just spread.
And wouldn't that be nice on a nice big bun? Oh man!
Well, you need to come to New York. They have They have about 3 sandwich places. One of them's called Katz, and a sandwich is going to cost you $25-$30. Okay, but you go in, they slice a piece of meat for you. You tip the guy for cutting a piece off. They have pastrami with garlic. They have this. They have pastrami regular. They have roast beef. They have all this stuff Herman knows. And the sandwiches are overstuffed. They're stacked like this. So you could literally take a sandwich and split it between 3 or 4 people. But
wow.
We used to have this one place a lot of people know of, the Carnegie Deli. I think they went out of business because they were giving away too much meat.
Yes. Yes. Now imagine this. You go into a place and they have meat on a little pivoting, whatever you want to call it. And they're lined up across, and you have men standing in front of them. And if you want to try this one, you point to that one, you point to this one. Now for each one, I've seen guys tip people $3 to $5 for each slice, but I'll go in and say, let me see how the garlic pastrami is today. And he'll cut a sliver off and put it on a plate. And you're like, mouth watering. It's freaking crazy over there. But Carnegie Deli, their sandwiches were overstuffed too. Their sandwiches, then you imagine a sandwich this thick with 2 slices.
And then they have the nerve to ask if you'd like to eat it here or take it home.
Yeah.
I look like a savage sitting here trying to get my mouth around 2 pieces of bread that stretch from my eye to my chin.
Keep in mind, they give you a pickle, coleslaw, fries, and other things with this stuff. What you order. The other stuff comes as a side. Like the main part of it is a sandwich, but you can get the option of fries, or you can have a coleslaw.
You want a pound or a half a pound?
Yeah.
See, now you guys are getting me hungry. I was down in Louisiana and I went to a place called Johnny's, and they had a muffalata sandwich.
I've never heard.
Over the size of my head. It was this thick, and it came to me, and I was looking, going, oh my God, what am I going to do with this? I was in Louisiana for a little bit, but I was like, but it was the best thing I've ever eaten. I only ate like an eighth of it. It's all I could eat.
Val, I would picture a lady like you trying to figure out how to eat that sandwich with a knife and a fork, because there's no way you're going to manhandle that.
I would have to try to unhinge my jaw. I did try to push it down like I did when I was eating a poor boy. You know how they say, oh, just slam it in there and close it and whatever.
That doesn't work with overstuffed sandwiches.
No, that did not work with my muffalata. I was like, oh, get lower. So I cut it like a cake. A thin slice out so I could eat it.
Phantom Flight, and guys, I'm going to have to get out of here. I got the blind screamers, and I have to work tomorrow.
in a few minutes.
Okay.
I was going to say one other thing. Talking about sandwiches, I was in Texas, and my uncle, he says to me, he goes, "Want some barbecue?" I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "All right." He goes, "I'm gonna get us 2 rib sandwiches." Now I remember McDonald's had that McRib.
McRib, yeah.
Nothing like that. They take this beef rib, not the short rib, but the beef rib, and put it in this Italian bun, Italian
Sub bun.
Right.
Yeah, and they take the barbecue sauce and they wrap it up in the foil and they give it to you. And I'm like, how the hell do you eat a sandwich with this big ass bone in it? Bone in it.
Later, Johnson. Thank you, bro, for coming in.
That's the big man's toothpick.
Right, Fred Flintstone. You got a on it and eat the bread and the meat from around the side of the bone.
Oh my God.
I'm like, you guys are cavemen out here in Texas. But with that, Lawrence, you want to do the next station break so we can get out of here?
Okay, we're gonna do it nice and slow. All right, here we go. Wednesday nights with those guys is sponsored by those guys. There we go. We got it. See, it's hard for me to mess up when I'm doing it, right? When I start.
So
Hey, it's been a pleasure to join you guys as always.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's so much fun, and I encourage everybody to come back on and see you guys again. You want to visit those guys as often as possible.
Yes. Now keep in mind, this is going to be a regular thing on Wednesday nights here on Herman's channel, and then Sunday nights with those guys is going to be on my channel. So make sure if you're in the chat room or you're watching this later on the recording, click that bell, subscribe to us, and that way you can keep up with us, because like I said, this summer we're going to be traveling and we're going to be going live with our phones, tablets, whatever we have to go live with.
Thank you, Joan Obsessed, Jerry.
Yep, exactly.
Yes. So guys, make sure you click that bell so every time Phantom Flight puts out a video, and it's another thing, we put out a video every week. I did not put out a video this week because I just didn't have the footage and time didn't allot. I was doing a lot of working. So now I should be back on key.
I'm going to see if I can try and do something when I'm finished here, if I have footage to do it. See what
everyone says awesome stream. Great show, guys. We thank you guys so much. And please come back and tell your friends, FPV or not.
That's right. Yep. Tell your friends, tell your neighbors, tell your family. They're all welcome here.
Thank you, Night Train.
Because as you see, unlike my show, we stayed on subject and didn't talk about gum.
If you want to catch those guys again, make sure you tune in on Sunday at 5 p.m. on Novice Quad channel. Wednesday, again at 5 p.m. Eastern, but then it's going to be on Phantom Flight 101. You guys don't want to miss it. It's been so much fun.
And after my show on Sundays, Val's show comes on.
Yep.
Yes, then I'll be on, and I am interviewing this week Bill, the drone reviewer. Is that right? Is that right?
No, you're not.
Yeah. Bill, the drone reviewer.
You know what? I happen to know that there's a certain drone pilot out there from Philly that doesn't like him too well. I'm going to contact him and tell him Bill is going to be on this show.
As his manager, Lawrence.
Okay.
He and I have already had the conversation, and he's looking forward to Val's interview with Bill, the drone reviewer, because he said Bill, the drone reviewer, is a great guy.
I know he's a great guy, but I just want to come on, Val. I don't care if nothing else happens, but I just want to come on and ask him, can't you fly any further than the edge of the damn water?
Well, from his backyard across the water and back.
So I will tell you, if you want to come on, just let me know. I'll send you.
I'm just saying that jokingly, but I know he's a nice guy, great character. He has a great channel. I love all drone pilots, but if he goes out over that water and comes back again, I'm going to scream. Fly somewhere else, man.
Lawrence, we should link Val and Fallon up together.
We should try that. Yeah, we should try that. Fallon is a female drone pilot here in New York.
Oh yes,
True.
yes. She's been looking for that connection. We
I've
talked.
been, yes, I've
And
been
she's in a
wanting-
group. She's in a group called Women Who Drone.
I would love to interview her and any of the other gals in there because I did Miss Creature, and the interview was only for an hour, and then the guys and I were talking for the last hour, but I cut all that out. So now it's just an hour-long interview, guys. I cut it so it's just to the point, and I think you're gonna like it. Miss Creature is crazy talented, crazy talented.
I caught
Okay.
that interview.
Okay. Well, make sure you come back and check us out, guys, and we appreciate you
We
all.
will.
Herman, you need to end this show because
Okay.
you're the man.
I'm ending the show right about now. And guys, thank you for coming into the live stream. Thanks for being here. I will see you next week on Wednesday night with those guys, and I'll make sure that you come
See,
on.
no. Stop. Paul and all of us were ready to go with those guys, and you just went on. So you got to do that over.
We were primed, Herman.
Well,
Yeah.
let's listen. Jay Leno never stopped Johnny Carson, man. Let me do my I'm thanking the people for coming in, then we can do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. All right.
Yes.
Don't forget on Sunday night, we roll on Novice Quad, on Novice Quad's channel. So thank you guys for coming in, and don't forget, it's 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Sundays and on Wednesday night with
Those guys.
There we go. Great show.
Thank you guys. Thank you for coming in. I will see you and over and